Welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Eugene Chan. What's in store for Hong Kong trade in the next 60 years? To discuss this with us this evening is Professor Frederick Ma, the chairman of the Hong Kong Trade Development Council. A former Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury and Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development, Professor Ma has extensive experience spanning banking, finance, international business and public service, bringing a wealth of insight into this discussion. He was awarded the Gold Bohemia Star in 2009. Thank you for joining us again, Fred.
Thank you, Eugene.
Firstly, congratulations on TDC on the 60th anniversary. Time has gone very quickly. Before we look into the next 60 years and how maybe we can start by telling the viewers a bit more about the TDC and the role it plays to help Hong Kong in connecting with the world.
Thank you, Eugene. TDC was established in 1966, so this is our 60th anniversary, birthday. And when it was established 60 years ago, the whole idea was to promote trade for Hong Kong. Hong Kong, as you may know, 60 years ago was a light industry hub. We produced textile, toys, electronics, wigs even, and we sell overseas. And from then on, Hong Kong has transformed itself from a manufacturer to a design center to a service center today. And we're now also, pushing companies to go overseas. I mean, mainland Chinese companies to go overseas. So our role has changed in the last 60 years a lot. And but we're doing it for Hong Kong. We are transforming Hong Kong from a small, shall I say, manufacturing hub into today's, we are number 5 in merchandise trade after mainland China, US, Netherlands, and Germany. We are well ahead of countries like UK, Japan, and others, France. So as Hong Konger, I think we should be proud of that.
All right, Chairman, today is a very special day.
Yes.
Because, actually earlier today, we have held a cocktail reception and what we call as Next 60 Forum. Maybe I'm sure the viewer would have watched it on television, but I'm sure they would like to hear from the Chairman's mouth that what inspired this forum to be held. And I understand many of the past chairmen have also appeared as well.
Yes. Well, this is our 60th birthday. And as I mentioned early on, we have gone through a lot. And we have witnessed the change of Hong Kong's economic landscape. So we gathered the former chairman to talk about what do they envisage for Hong Kong, for TDC in the next 60 years. It's too lengthy to tell you what exactly they said. You have to go back to the tape to watch what they said. But basically, we are part of China, and China is also doing very well, transforming its own economy. I mean, you look at the EVs, for example. 20 years ago, China doesn't have EV. Today, EV is a major industry in China and also is a major exporter to countries like Europe primarily. So as a result, the role of Hong Kong has also changed. We need to bring the mainland companies to go global, as the chief executive said in his policy address. Our role as a super connector and super value adder will not change. We continue to perform that.
Right.
And as an international city, as an international financial center, we do it very well.
Chairman, let's move on to one of your council success stories, which is the trade delegation sort of organized by TDC that was led by the chief executive recently to Central Asia earlier this month. We had Nicholas Ho, the Belt and Road Commissioner here earlier, telling us what the government's approach and plans, as well as the region's strong economic potential. Many of the business delegates were I was told, were there for the first time. I'm sure you have talked to many of them. How did that, from that perspective, did the mission sort of meet the expectation, or actually has that experience actually shaped their confidence in entering into those countries? I mean, how do you feel?
Well, first of all, I have been to Kazakhstan 3 times.
Right.
This is my 3rd visit with the chief executive. I call it a super successful mission. Why? Because we had signed 96 MOUs. Of that, 66 are trade and business related. Mm-hmm. The others are related to education, cultural, government, so on and so forth. Now, during the trip, it was announced that we will have direct flight from Hong Kong to Almaty, which is most welcome, because without air traffic, it would be impossible to get there. You know, it takes about 7 hours to go to Almaty. But if you have to change plane in, say, Korea or Beijing or other hub, it would take very long. So it would inhibit travel. It would inhibit business. So this is a most welcome news announced by the chief executive. The chief executive also announced that Uzbekistan will open a consul general in Hong Kong,
right,
which is very good to facilitate further trade and further communication.
Right, Chairman. I mean, since you mentioned you've been there for 3 times, I'm sure you have met some of the leaders from the region. What is their immediate response? I mean, how do you feel of the sort of anticipation of such a large delegation, as you told me, like over 200 people attending to them? I mean, how do they respond to it?
Well, they clearly gave us the highest level of hospitality and attention. First of all, you know, the chief executive gets to meet the president and the prime minister in both countries, and the delegates were invited to the Uzbekistan palace to meet the prime minister with his ministers. So we had a very, very high level reception. The most important thing is that media in the local market were extremely receptive to our visit. Right. And even I was invited to be interviewed by local media in local language and Russians. So I would say the reception was at most high level, and we have really hit the 2 countries with a lot of news. We do a lot of business interaction during those 5 days. Give you some example. For example, one of the group that was one of our delegates who joined the mission for the first time, he told me that 3 groups in Kazakhstan have approached him for a business opportunity to open hotel in Kazakhstan.
Right.
Well, this group has many business, but one of them is hotel. And because of that, they're talking. And another good example is when we were in Uzbekistan, a Uzbekistan party asked us whether we sell 100 buses to them.
Oh, really?
And as a result, we introduced 3 mainland Chinese car company who were with us to them.
Right.
Well, some people say, will this materialize? We don't know.
Right.
But at least the first contact was made, which is very good. So there are numerous examples about the success of the trip.
Right, Chairman, you kind of have sort of a sort of invisible eye looking at what I'm going to ask you next, because I'm sure many of the viewers will say, yes, we heard that there's 96 MOU and agreements being signed, $1.6 billion, which is very encouraging. But MOUs are MOUs. I mean, how many of them will sort of materialize into proper businesses and agreements? Is there anything that TDC will sort of help to follow this through as well?
Not only TDC, government want us to follow through. We will follow through.
Right.
As a matter of fact, after our visit, the Deputy Prime Minister of Kazakhstan already brought another delegation to Hong Kong.
Right.
To promote one of their projects. And some of the chamber in Hong Kong have already arranged some trade delegation of their own to these two countries. So there are lots of interaction. As to whether business will materialize, it really depends on the people involved. It depends on the timing. A lot of factors could affect it. But I'm sure, business is business. They will strive to, make some money from this trip.
All right. Time for a short break now, Chairman. We will come back with more Straight Talk. Welcome back to Straight Talk. Professor Fred Ma, Chairman of the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, is sharing some of the fruitful outcomes from our CE John Lee's recent trade delegation to Central Asia and the opportunities that have opened up for our city. So, Chairman, thank you very much for bringing us some good news that not only many MOUs were signed, the businesses are happening, and you receive a high level of reception by the country and the cities, and they'll be planning to come to Hong Kong. Very good news. I'm sure the Hong Kong viewers would like to know, what do you see as Hong Kong's attraction to them? Because we look for opportunities, always been financial services, and now we have more technology in Hong Kong, and especially our professional services. Do you see that is our strength and attraction to them?
Absolutely. Geopolitically, as you know, the world is, in a kind of difficult situation right now.
Right.
Middle East, which is, considered a stable region, is facing some headwinds. So many of the countries are looking to this part of the world. You just look at how many senior leaders have visited Beijing, you will understand what I'm talking about. And for Hong Kong, we are part of China, and yet we are an international city. We have our own common law system, independent judiciary, arbitration centers, free to travel, free to remit your money here, as long as it's legitimate money.
Of course.
And we have excellent professional services. So everything works our way. And as a result, many people are looking to Hong Kong as a safe haven. Hong Kong was ranked #1 in wealth management recently. That's no small achievement. It's a huge achievement. And other than that, as I said earlier, we are the 5th largest merchandise trading hub in the world. Again, for a small city of 7 million people, that's a huge achievement. So to be an international financial center, ranked #3 at the moment, is also another landmark achievement we should be proud of.
Right.
So with all those, we are very attractive to foreign businesses, stable, with all those credentials I mentioned before. They love Hong Kong. They all want to come to Hong Kong to establish as a base and to do their business not just in Hong Kong, but in the mainland China and in Chinese mainland. Right. And as a result, we're in a very good position, Eugene, to be the super connector and super value adder.
Right. Chairman, I understand that out of the 75 sort of companies that went with you to the two cities, 30 of them are major Chinese enterprises. As you know that there have always been direct connection between the mainland companies and Central Asia. So what role does Hong Kong has to play? Although we have seen in the 15 five-year plan saying Hong Kong must help our mainland businesses to sort of explore a pathway overseas. But is our role sort of diminishing, or you think that we are actually increasing our role?
I actually see our role being increased. Why? Number one, you're right. Some of the companies from Chinese mainland have already been operating in Central Asia. actually, in Kazakhstan, there are over 3,000 Chinese mainland companies there. However, you must remember, China is also transforming. I mentioned EV as an example, but there are many, many industries that China is doing well. And take, biopharmaceutical, they're doing very well. And one company that joined us from the Greater Bay Area was saying in Uzbekistan, they would like to establish a manufacturing base in Uzbekistan and capitalize on the 38 million population country to sell their product to Uzbekistan. So you can see that, there are lots of opportunity. And also for Hong Kong, we are bringing some new companies to Central Asia as well. So I think there are lots of opportunity, and for them, we are performing a very different role this time. Give you an example. We were entertained by the largest bank in Kazakhstan over dinner. And one of the companies from Chinese mainland actually know the bank because they were banking with them.
Right.
But then they had never met the chairman. We introduced the chairman of the bank to them.
Oh, really? Oh,
so they were very impressed. And they said, oh, it's fantastic that by joining this mission, we got to meet the chairman of the bank and cement their relationship. You see, this is where Hong Kong can add value to them. And also, they started to appreciate how Hong Kong, as an international city, as an IFC, can help them by having their regional base set up in Hong Kong.
Right, Chairman, is very encouraging to hear that, because I I had the opportunity to attend some of these delegations before, and I think people-to-people contact are the most fruitful outcomes, especially, as you said, as the Chairman can meet the counterparts.
Absolutely. Our job is to connect them. Our job is to give them opportunity to meet the local business people and see the opportunity that are available. Now, whether they strike a deal or not, of course, is up to them.
Since you've been there 3 times and you meet all the important people, Hong Kong traditionally are very strong in financial services. Hopefully we get some deals for the infrastructures one day. But how about other areas? Do you see other areas such as green energy, sort of technology, or anything else that you see an immediate collaboration potential between Hong Kong and Central Asia? Is there anything that you have noticed?
Yes, I do see cooperation opportunity in those areas. We try to sell our strength in green energy, solar and things like that to them. And because they are major producer of oil and natural gas, so there are many opportunities that we can explore.
Right. Fred, earlier when we speak before the show, you said TDC is going to have sort of a stronger presence in Central Asia. Can you elaborate that a bit more so that our viewers will know that they'll look for TDC, and especially helping the SMEs as well?
Well, TDC has 51 offices around the world. We have one office in Almaty, which is what we call a consultant office. It's not a full service, not a full office yet.
Right.
After this visit, we will seriously consider upgrading it to a full office. But it will take time because we have limited resources, and we need to make sure that we put the resources in the right place. Central Asia, after CE's visit, is certainly an area that we want to look at seriously and see how we can help Hong Kong company, Chinese mainland company to go into go into Central Asia.
Right, Chairman, I thank you so much for telling us what's the latest in the sort of delegation, knowing that Hong Kong has more opportunities. If we go back to the title of the show today, looking at the next 60 years, today we're at the forum. How do you see Hong Kong re-engineer or redevelop in the next 6 years, and how TDC is going to support it?
No question, Hong Kong is going to do better in the next 60 years. Hong Kong being part of China, and China is doing well, we will benefit from that position. And TDC being part of the system, will try our very best to help Hong Kong's companies, including the SMEs, to break into new markets, and as well as some new trade. We want to do that, and we will do that. And I'm sure my colleagues in the future will do a very good job.
Right, Chairman, I'm going to ask you a final question directly on you. I mean, being a person who has achieved so much for yourself in Hong Kong, and being the chairman of TDC, what would you like to achieve during your tenure? I would say in particular in the area of expanding Hong Kong's footprint into the Belt and Road.
Well, two things I really want to achieve. One is, like you said, expand into some new market like Belt and Road. Our predecessor have broken into many markets like Africa and Europe and North America before. But Belt and Road countries are new market. So I really want to break into that. Mm-hmm. Another thing I really want to achieve is to see whether we can find land to build another convention center. Because our current convention center is too small. We only have net area of about 700-something thousand square feet. Mm-hmm. That's too small for Hong Kong. Of course, you have AWE and all that. But I think for convention center, we could use more space. Once you have more space, you'll be able to do a lot more. Look at Kai Tak, see what Kai Tak can do for Hong Kong. We need the space. So we are doing some feasibility study to see how we can expand our convention center, current convention center, and a new convention center, right, to see how we can expand our physical location to accommodate. Yes.
I must say I'm very excited to hear about that. I'm sure it will happen under your leadership, and thank you so much for sharing this piece of good news with us. As we have just heard, the next 60 years of trade lies in emerging markets, new economic corridors, and deeper regional partnerships. As CE said in his speech in Tashkent, a partnership built on gold, on bringing together our professional and financial services and Central Asia's rich mineral resources will be a golden opportunity. Have a good evening and see you next week.